What's up, everyone? First off, can you hear me? Because I had a power surge. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. What's up, everyone? Welcome to a special dual cast of the Starlight Digest meets the Shadow Nose Network Part 2, 8 a.m. hour. Or 8 a.m. I wish.
Man,
8 p.m. hour.
Jesus. No,
it just went by like that.
Had a long enough day, okay?
Yeah. I'm your host, Darth Moocher. Scott Solo's here.
What's up, nerds?
And look at all the new faces. This is
so much awesome in this
room.
So much awesome in this room. There was a power surge that blew out Darth Moocher's house.
Woo!
It happens.
It happens a lot. Yeah, I don't know. All the new faces from Shadow Nose Network is here. Alexander Storm, what you know from Toy Chest.
Yes, sir.
Brad is here with us.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Dr. Brantley's here.
What's up?
We got Meeks.
How y'all doing?
And of course, Chet Maddox. Look at him. Look at him down there, all by himself.
Dare me.
We need
I just got put to the bottom. Fine.
It's random. It's random. I swear.
You could drag my square around, but you don't want to. So
that's true.
Fine.
That's very
true.
He's
on timeout.
Yeah, I'm on time. That's fine.
You know, we could
just drop me.
We could just do that.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
I don't like it here. If you guys notice, I position my chair this way for a reason. So
you can talk into my ear. Go ahead.
Anyway, guys, this is a continuation for our dual cast that we have teamed up with Shadow Nose Network. If you missed part 1, it's okay. It's cool. there's a replay over at their network. The link is in the description below. Go check it out. The best and worst of just pop culture in general, movies, comics, TV shows. Some good talk there. And of course, we bring it over here because I know these guys have been like biting their tongue to talk about Star Wars, but they kept it in gear. They kept it cool because we got Star Wars to talk about, the best and worst of this year, even though we do have some things going on, but we'll see where that lies, right? Real fast, before we get into it all, we've got Crooked Smile. He's over here waiting patiently. We've got Hal Runner Base.
What's up, Hal Runner?
Matt Logic is checking in. Okay, so what we'll do is just run the recap, and then no, again, Hal Runner, it's just the best and worst of pop culture in general. You know, all this stuff, TV shows, movies, and comics. And how
apparently the Joker 2 was the best thing this year. I mean, that's incredible to me.
Mind blown. Mind blown.
Yeah. Of course, guys, what we'll do is we're going to present things and as a Star Wars as a whole. As 2024, I always tried to see this as a season of Star Wars. We did this last year with said this in this season of Star Wars, this is what happened. We did our best and worst of. And this year's no different. I think that I hate to have anything in the bottom of Star Wars, but I can't help it. The fandom puts a lot of things in the bottom. I don't know if Disney does, you know what I mean? But let's start with movies. Oh, there's no movies. Okay, let's go because
this is gonna be a real short podcast.
Yeah. So no, movies will be in 2026 to review. So we got no Star Wars movies, but we can go straight to the TV shows. If you missed what happened this year, we had, and I have my list here. We had Bad Batch season 3, which was the finale of the season animated show. We had Tales of the Empire, which is an animated show. Oh, cool. Look at you.
I tried.
Was this like on the spot?
Yes, it was.
We had we had the Lego series, and it's a season 1, the Rebuild the Galaxy for Star Wars.
I didn't see this.
It's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Everybody's favorite, The Acolyte. I mean, what can you say? I mean, come on, guys. Look at
that. Had to be probably one of my favorite shows I did watch this year.
Crooked Smile, I wish he missed The Acolyte. Yeah. And we have the ongoing Skeleton Crew, which premiered last week. And we're going to throw it in here with our mix as the beginning. But of course, this will also be in our 2025 year review because as you know, we know where it's started, but we don't know how it's finishing or where it's heading. So that's why cautiously optimistic on it. But I'm going to start this off with the upbeat because Skeleton Crew, to me, revitalized the Star Wars talk. It might not have revitalized like, oh, well, Disney's back and we're going to do all these things. But I think if you take the pulse around the fandom, I think it's on a good note. We're ending the year off on a good note. With this show. Again, the first 2 episodes premiered, very positive, very nostalgic. We don't know where it's going, but I mean, yes, they can trip, but I just don't. I think that we're in good hands with this show. So, what do you say use? What say use as a collective?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know we briefly talked about it on the hour number 1, but when my wife and I were watching it at the end of episode 2, we looked at each other like they got a home run here. Like this is super entertaining. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Stranger Things in a sense, like plugged into the Star Wars universe, and then some cool characters. I thought again, just to recap, like what I said previously, if you would have told me that Lucas and Spielberg had like somehow wrapped their hands around it, I would have told you like, you're right. Like this feels very much like that, although they didn't. Right. And I love the droid, man. Get me a toy ASAP. Like, geez, give me a hot toy. Yeah. Give me a hot toy of that one. But I thought it was really great. The music was great. And I think the cliffhanger at the end of episode 2 was like, oh, okay. Are we gonna, all right. Okay. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm assuming your audience probably is already caught up. But that one was like, okay. All right, here we go. So super exciting. I think it's going to be the best damn series we've seen in a while since maybe Mando 1 and 2.
Yeah.
We spoiled the hell out of it on Wednesday, so feel
Okay,
free to
cool.
spoil
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
The droid. You said a hot toy of that droid, man. When Smee comes out, because I mean SM33 Smee, when he comes out, if he doesn't have a little rodent that pops out of his eye, I'm gonna be, that's a huge miss if they don't do that. That'd be amazing.
My theory is that is the droid. The droid, that the mouse is controlling the droid. That's my theory. I'm sticking by it.
Ratatouille. It's Ratatouille, people. We're throwing that into.
Why not?
No.
Yeah, and all the stuff that looked like it could be very sketchy from the trailers going in. You know, Ernie was talking about something, about the suburban
suburbia,
Pasadena.
Yeah, exactly.
But all of that stuff worked fantastically well, I thought.
And there's a reason for it too. Which is really cool.
Part of the plot that we think, and we have this whole ongoing thing.
It made sense.
Yeah.
I most definitely thought that it was one, fun. Two, I think it added a different layer for new Star Wars fans. I think if you of the younger variety, this was one of the few times where you could sit everyone in front of the TV. They could watch this, and you weren't worried about if it's going to be what content or whatever situation. It's a family friendly Star Wars show, and I thought they pulled that off well. And I've recommended it to anyone that I know to have kids.
I love it.
Like, this is going to get people to, I think in 20, 30 years, they're going to say Skeleton Crew is the reason why I watch Star Wars. And it's a next generation.
That is
extremely
really
smart show, man. Extremely smart show.
And there's there's some nostalgia there too, because I remember one of the sequences where they're riding their little the motorbikes or whatever that is. It felt very Back to the Future too.
Oh,
didn't it? In a sense, I was like, I got a pit bull, right? Like I was like, I thought that was like they pulled that from Back to the Future.
When Fern pulled up into her neighborhood, it looked like the Lion Estates from Back to the Future with the two statues on the side of the road. I mean, it was all right there,
Yeah. The one thing that made us nervous was this Major Tom Huttese kind of song that they put in the trailer, and we're like, it kind of works, but StarWars.com released the entire version of it. So it's in my playlist too. Awesome Hell Runner. Yeah, it's something that we never thought we would like in Star Wars. I still don't want it in the show.
No,
unless it's in the background, not the soundtrack, not the going that way. But
George Lucas has always put terrible pop songs in foreign languages in Star Wars.
Yeah. Anything
he has,
goes,
but the problem
right?
is Major Tom isn't a bad song, and it's and they've never done a straight up remake of it. Well, I mean, anything goes, of course, but a straight up 80s new wave pop song done in Huttese, if they would have, that would have been just too much.
Well, like I said, I thought that would have made the bottom list. Yeah, but it's cool because then now it was just straight for the trailer, which is unprecedented, for Star Wars. But
did you
look
Disney,
at just be careful?
Did you read the lyrics though? Because it's a lyric video, right?
Yeah.
So instead of Earth below us, it says at 10, and then it. So I'm like, oh my god, this is great.
Yeah. Meeks, did you watch this yet? Like, are you caught up, or are you just like gonna wait?
I actually have that one in my queue. That is something that I'm not allowed to watch without my daughter.
There you go. There you go. I was just about to say, are you waiting?
Yeah, we watched the trailer, and it's one of those, just like Stranger Things, I'm not allowed to watch it without her.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. I love it.
She'll love it.
Yeah.
She will absolutely love it.
Oh, once I had her watch Mandalorian, of course, Grogu. Oh my god,
yeah,
there's like a
world phenomenon
one sitting in a chair behind me.
And now Neil is going to be the new Grogu, I think, coming up here pretty soon.
That's exactly what I heard.
I know Scott's getting him right here, tattooed on his forearm.
Totally. Yeah, just Neil right here. Yeah.
And I was checking, he is definitely not the same as Max Rebo.
Right.
They look very different.
Yeah, even the creators confirmed that. They said no, he's a different species. Yeah.
Well, I was talking to Chet about this, and we were laughing. I said one thing that made me jump out of my seat was, and even though Meeks was at Disneyland, you can't see it anymore, but it was the Captain EO reference where we were like, whoa. I said,
missed that. What was said about Captain EO?
It's got a name, but remember in the scene and on the port where they knocked over
See if I can pull it up.
and that red bird flew away.
Yeah, that's from Captain EO. But did they say something about Captain EO?
No.
Oh, it was just the animal. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that thing called? I knew, like, at first I was like, where is that from? And I was like,
there's a name because I thought I had the stuffed animal from a long time ago.
Yeah,
a long time, because I remember the center in the Star Trader, they used to have that character in there.
I mean, if they want to go all out, I want to see Captain EO hologram, like CGI walking through.
I mean, they did the holiday special. they promised us deep cuts. They got deep cuts.
Its name is Fuzzball. That's all you get.
Hey man, so 80s. I'll hit Chet thought on the Skeleton Crew real fast, and then we'll move on to the other stuff.
Yeah, it's super fast. I haven't seen it yet, but I have seen like trailers for it and things like that.
Yeah.
I am very excited to actually see this one. I think I've talked about this before, at least over on Pixel Plastic Inc. Like, I am somebody that I love the original release of Star Wars.
Yep.
And then I love well, I can't say all of them because I don't, but I appreciate the stories that take place in between the movies.
Gotcha.
So I'm somebody that is I'm all about, like, because what I think is I think that this just expands the lore more and gets people excited, like we've talked about already, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have like Rogue One is like one of my favorites of like all time.
Me too.
But if you think about what it is, it's somebody had a story to tell in the Star Wars universe and didn't want to let anyone down, and then you got Rogue One.
Yeah.
And then they button it up with like how it leads into the movie it's supposed to lead into.
Right.
And it's like that. I feel like, because we talked about this on part one, everyone's kind of killing the whole like this is the second movie, then the third movie. It's like, well, why are you doing that when you could just you could get the Bible from somebody, the lore of that universe. You could figure out what it is. And you can't tell me that with all of the media, whether it's comics or books or TV shows in Star Wars, that there's nothing you want to expand on that hasn't been done.
Well,
like, you know what I'm saying? But I think everyone, I think where it's at is like, I'm hoping that Skeleton Crew and some of these off-brand ones that people think are like, oh, they're not going to work. I hope it's proving to like Disney and people in charge that like people are hungry to see stuff that's not a rehash.
There's a formula that works in Star Wars, and you can expand from out. You can go outside of the existing canon, the timeline, and do that same kind of formula. Fun adventure hero's journey, right? That's what this is too, right? It's a group of kids on a hero's journey, right? Mm-hmm. It works for Star Wars, and
I'm putting it
what we've had.
Yeah, I'm putting the so far Skeleton Crew is going to be, pretty much one of those things, again, ending the year off with a bang and going like, all right, cool. Everybody remembers why they love Star Wars, and I think that's what it's doing. I don't want to overhype it, so when people watch it, well, that wasn't that good. You know what I mean? I always have that fear on that, and a lot of times, like, look, there's you either love Star Wars or there's people that just kind of like, oh, everything they do sucks, and then they go like, oh, they just overhype it. No, I think it's in a good direction. I just hope that Disney knows that, like I said, they're really paying attention for what they have, like a Rogue One stuff. Tales from the Jedi. They started Tales from the Jedi cartoon. They did Tales from the Empire this year, and I think the hype was way up here. Like, oh my god, we're going to get Tales from Mos Eisley, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, all those side comics and stuff that they used to do in those books, those novels, those short stories. To me, this one, Tales from the Empire, I don't know if anybody saw it or remember seeing it, but I felt it fell flat on its face because you had a title of Tales of the Empire and there really wasn't any Empire in it at all. It was just somebody else's side story. But it wasn't about him, right? It was about Morgan Elsbeth. And Morgan Elsbeth was from the Empire, but that particular story, she had already left it, and it was kind of like, it wasn't an Empire story. And so I'm putting that as something where it's like, it should have been one of the top, because Tales of the Empire is all in our wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Nah, it
And
didn't.
Tales of the Jedi was so good.
And Tales of the Jedi was shockingly good because it was about Jedis. You know?
Well, Tales of the Empire, you can do something like any one of those generals that was in the Death Star meeting room and follow them like what they were doing, you know, and there's interesting stories in every one of them that you can tell.
This had very little Empire in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm hoping that they do more. That's okay. All right, that might have fell flat, but do more. You know what I mean? I want more. Do learn from it or whatever. Again, and then expand the Tales of a series. Mos Eisley would be great. Bounty Hunters would be great, even if it's like Tales from Coruscant. You know what I mean? Like Tales from Vader's Castle. It's like go for it, man. Yeah. Animated is what we need. We need some more animated.
If they don't want to go do movies or TV shows that are set in the distant past, that's what Tales of the Jedi comic series was, right? That was the Tales of the Jedi of distant past. Yeah, you could go there and introduce some new concepts there and just blow people's minds that way. But, you know. We'll
Howlrunner base. I'll play devil's advocate tonight. Rogue One and Skeleton Crew were okay. Well, I mean,
man, I really miss Howlrunner base. He was a great listener. I don't know what the hell happened to that guy. Man.
Put this man in timeout. Put this man in timeout.
You know what? I just, but he says, say, Tales of the Jedi brought more questions than answers. Yeah, but like, I mean, they kind of did fall. They kind of like they did close in. I don't want to go too much into that, but they kind of like close and see where Ahsoka was doing at that time and where and how she joined the rebellion and all that stuff. So those are the meat and potatoes, like Chet was saying. Like those are like stories that we want to see that fleshes out the universe. And those short format, I think, does better than the longer formats. Not Matt, you know, Matt again. Mando's a side quest. You know, yes, they had Luke and stuff that came in as like a just crossing paths thing, and then they're doing his own adventures, which I feel does flesh out the universe a lot more in smarter ways rather than dedicating a trilogy or a whole series. Because again, sometimes those series like Kenobi and Book of Fett, it just don't work.
Bad Batch was a little bit of awesome with a whole lot of exposition that didn't, you know, progress the story very much.
Yeah, and Bad Batch as a whole to me was just a very filler for people that missed the Clone Wars. They just like loves Clone Wars so much. Here's a little bit more of it. And then Bad Batch season 3 had so much potential to like really kind of get some canon stuff. And to me, that fell flat. It was, I was bored. 90% of it, I was bored. I was looking at my phone watching this, and this is a Star Wars cartoon, and I shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? And that 10% though was cool. But
I thought season 1 of Bad Batch nailed it. Season 2 had a little bit of potential. Season 3, I was disappointed. And I was waiting for something because they had left it on such a good cliffhanger from 2 to 3 that I thought, okay, well, they're going to clean up everything. And it just seemed like it was kind of like the way they did the last couple of seasons of the Clone War. They kind of just rushed things. I think they had great ideas, and I think they just left a lot of that on the floor.
Yeah, season 3, the first episode kicked off like, oh, here, this we're doing Tantus, all this stuff. We never went back until like 14 episodes later. Yeah. And then when we did go back, it had more like how I will say this, that had more questions and answers. And
that was kind of the formula for the Clone Wars too, right? Because the whole I'm thinking of Darth Maul's return, right? Oh, this season Darth Maul returns in the second to last episode. You know,
it took a whole season for it to get back there. Yeah. And that's the long format storytelling, which I sometimes feel Star Wars suffers from. When we had the original trilogy, you had movies 1, 2, and 3, and it went from A, B, C. I mean, A through Z. That's it. Done. Emperor was there. Emperor was there. He's dead. And it just did everything. It just worked. Right. Now that we've always had the expanded universe to flesh it out, but now that we have all these visuals in Disney and they're really trying to throw a lot of things at the wall and see what sticks, which in my opinion, I hate that because it's Star Wars and you're pissing more people off than you're making new fans. It's like they get Skeleton Crew, boom, and then they're like, oh, here's Acolyte, but then here's like this, and then it's like, guys, one writer, one story group, one executive producer, go. Right, you know, why I know it's an IP, but
why don't they ever do like it always seems like with the animation, it's always like going back in the past. Like, why wouldn't they do like I think about like they've been teasing this like what the Rey, the future of like the new Star Wars, like animate that. Like, let's see some like forward thinking versus always having to think about movies or TVs past that. Because I think most of the animation seems to be back, and that's okay. It fills some of the gaps. It tells different stories. Yeah, but I think it would be interesting to see maybe some new stuff.
I agree.
Characters.
I feel like they think that might be painting themselves into a corner, right? Because what they did with the sequel trilogy is, like it or not, we have a destination, right? And everything they do in the middle now has to get to that point. If they do something that shows us a story in the future, we're going to have to get to that point eventually, because they don't want to seem to go in the far past. They want to just keep moving forward. So if they do something that's set in, say, another 15 years in the future with Rey, like an animated series or something like that, it's you've got anything you do in between, you're painting yourself into that direction, right? It's like the Mandalorian, the Mandoverse, as we call it, is taking up all this time to try and make the sequels make sense, right? And that's what I feel like. They're just kind of painting themselves in the corner.
That, and sometimes when you look at, they probably look at the bottom line too. It's like, well, Clone Wars had this many viewership and we made this amount of money, and then we jump forward
make this many clone toys.
Yeah, and then the licenses all get extra money, and then they jump forward and they're like, well, this didn't do, so let's go back to a formula that worked just for our bottom line. And sometimes we're sitting there like you're saying, Raz, like, all right, look, I love the story, I love the time frame, but let's kind of, we as consumers and the audience, like, we want progression. So sometimes I'm like, just commit. Go 15 years into the future and just say this happened. I don't care. Like I said, I know painting himself, but you know what? Just commit. Stop playing with this area and then keeping it safe. Like, go 2 steps, 5 steps back, 2 steps forward, 5, and then they'd be like, well, just in case we want to bring Rey back, we're gonna do this, and then never bring her back and just have that option. Just kill her, don't kill her, do whatever you have to do, and then let's go continue the story. And that's how we grew up with Star Wars. And I think that's what's in our, and I'm speaking for myself, but in my mind, I'm trying to finish this saga, with the Skywalker saga, but now we're still playing in the Skywalker sandbox, which I had it in my head. It was done a long time ago. So,
well, they did a really good job of it with the comic books, the Dark Horse comics. Whenever they did Cade Skywalker, they did Cade Skywalker and Darth. Oh God, what was his name? Ashred Hutt. Whenever he became Darth Crate, there we go.
Crate.
And you didn't need to get there, right? Because it was just a solid story. The problem is we haven't had a solid story in the future, right?
Because you know what? Here's the thing, and again, we'll get back to the greatest list, but again, it kind of goes with our talk, because they listen, they take notes and stuff. The stuff that's working for them, I feel it's all accidents. The stuff that they plan out and they don't do a good planning out job, it seems to fall right on their face. Mandalorian was a concept, and it was not even supposed to be what it turned into. Rogue One was a side project, and it just was like, just do that on the side and end up being this cool thing. And I do kind of sometimes I'm putting that in the camp with Skeleton Crew. They're probably like, look, they're probably like, we only have 8 episodes and that's it. Now they're probably thinking, well, maybe we need a season 2. Maybe we need to expand this. And I'm like, no, that's a great bookend. I know that Neil will probably make you a lot of money, but as a fan, this is a great bookend. Leave it alone. You know what I mean? And then they take their concepts of 7, 8, 9 Rey movies and everything, and Hell Runner's favorite Resistance, and they'll make 12 seasons of it, which we're not asking for it. We're telling them time out.
And there's some things that I think they're missing out on, because like some of the legend stories, like with the clone of Luke and stuff like that would actually work with the technology that they're using now to recreate Luke. It's like, it doesn't look quite right. Well, it's because it's not Luke, it's a clone.
Right.
And you can tell the whole story like that. But
we'll see where their Mandoverse goes in that,
Yeah, because they're kind of, they've thrown the term heir to the empire out there several times now, right? And it does seem like we're going in that direction with Thrawn and everything. So maybe that is in the future. Maybe we're going to see a computer-generated Luke or a de-aged Han Solo in this upcoming movie that's supposed to wrap it all up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, call it heir to the empire. You could have clone Luke or whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to kind of jump ahead a little bit for if anybody's tired of living in the Skywalker saga and see what Disney's doing, well, head over to Lego, because they dropped their Rebuild the Galaxy series, and it is a series. It's season 1, because they are going to continue this thing, and it is a kind of a fun what if. It's the Star Wars version of what if. It's fun. I mean, it's not my favorite, but it's it's definitely not a miss. But it's not something that I'm going to talk about. It's just like that because it interferes with canon. It does its own thing.
But it was great though. I loved it.
It was
just
anything
because
Lego was funny.
Yeah, but it was ridiculous, and you do want to see Darth Jar Jar, and this is the perfect place to see it.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things where you just, all right, cool. You
had me at Darth Jar Jar.
Darth Jar Jar. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. And again, you're getting Lego, so you're getting the humor, you're getting the slapstick, and you're getting those adult jokes kind of mixed in with the funny stuff. But it just took the universe and threw it upside down and just did its own thing. And knowing that they're going to do another season with it and run with this, I think it's cool for kids, but you're going to confuse the kids. You're going to confuse them. The ones that we're trying to, grow up right and teach them about.
Yeah, but you first got to hook them in now. And I think that this is a very good way to hook them in. Look, the Lego series is big. Jen and I were just talking about the original Lego movie the other night. In fact, how big it is. Yeah, it's one of those aspects where it's gonna hook the younger fans in. You're gonna be able to then drive them to more Star Wars stories. Yeah. Exactly the same way this Skeleton Crew is going. I think it's incredibly smart to diversify it as much as possible. For so long, it seems like it's been stuck in this one area, and I think expanding it gives it a life. Because look, we're some of us on this show are over the age of 50. Star Wars has got to last longer than us, and you're going to need some people in their their teens and early days to get another 30, 40, 50 years out of it.
Yeah.
I know. Go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead. No, please.
No, I'm just gonna say I saw in the chat that Young Jedi Adventures. I got a 4-year-old. She watches that. Like, talk about an introductory.
Perfect.
And I'll be honest with you, it's actually pretty good. It is.
I've told you guys before.
It's like it's for kids, but like I find myself watching it, and the animation and then the music. It's like they did it really well. It wasn't designed just to be like, we're gonna sell toys here. Like, there was some thought into it. Introduction of different characters in the Star Wars lore. And she's already asking me questions of who's this, that. We got the little characters, we got the plushies, and guess what? In a couple of years, it'll expand and we'll get more stuff. And next thing you know, she's got a Millennium Falcon, and the wife's yelling at me. But at the end of the day, it's a great segue. I love that they're designing content like that. So actually, the Young Jedi Adventures is good. It's really good. It's good in my opinion. It's not cheesy over the top.
Right.
And I don't think Rebuild the Galaxy either would be all that confusing. I mean, we all grew up reading comic books, I assume, right? I mean, every one of us grew up reading a multiverse of comics, right? We understand that Marvel and DC are different. We understand that DC and Marvel also both have different Earths with different realities, right? There's no reason why somebody watching this now would be confused by what's going on, right? I mean, if you see Darth Jar Jar and all that, it's not really happening in the real world, right?
Well, you just have to sit the child down, say like, okay, honey, now you understand that this is not canon, but
Daddy, what's canon?
By the way, if this was Marvel, we would definitely see a live action Darth Jar Jar in some multiverse movie of some type.
Yeah.
So that's what's good is like I don't think we'll ever see that. But you let Marvel do whatever they want, and they got 12 different variants of Jar Jar. So that I'm very appreciative of. That'll stick within the Lego lore.
Yeah, just exactly.
If you're gonna do a what if, do it here. Now, personally, it took me 3 days to get through one episode of this, and I have not revisited it. So Lego movies, man, they just bore the shit out of me. It's just they just do. All of them do.
They're an acquired taste, they're acquired
Lego
taste.
has a really far reach, especially in the gaming space. Like the gaming space, like my daughter got into Star Wars by playing Lego Star Wars.
Awesome.
And it was literally just running through the story of Lego, and then that's what brought her into, she saw me watching The Mandalorian. And then that was where she started getting hooked.
Yeah.
I didn't know the power of Lego other than when I step on one, I'm pretty pissed off. That was my experience with Legos. This is why my mom hated Legos. Like, you step on one and it's game over.
Yeah, exactly. And a future, like 1,000 years from now, there still be Legos around. You know, what will survive nuclear war? Cockroaches and Legos and Twinkies, but Legos definitely. So, Mando Mike checking in. Also, of course, I saw Bootleg Joe in there. He loves himself some Jar Jar, but yeah, Mando. Yes, the Young Jedi Adventures is always a top because it's been going on for a while now, and for the exact reasons you guys are saying, it's that segue. It's a perfect segue. I always said Star Wars, there is room for it all. There is room for the adult Star Wars. There's room for the kitty stuff that's not Resistance, that is Young Jedi Adventures. There's room for the slapstick stuff that is not canon in comics and stuff like that. And then, of course, then there's the nostalgia-driven Skeleton Crew, right? So, yeah, I'm glad that they're I cross my fingers that they're not getting the Marvel treatment where it'll show up in the background because you know the world, because the whole concept of world between worlds scares us to death about it trying to be a time machine kind of stuff. We just don't want that to happen.
I'd like to say they're smarter than that, but
a bull. I call bull on that. And I call bull on that.
No, yeah.
This is a note to video editors. Hint, hint, Dr. Brantley. I would love to see an edit of like Balin's skull as he's looking out on the horizon, and then Darth Jar Jar is like in the back, like that's who he's seeking.
That's gonna bring
that. And it started here, folks, on the Sarlacc Digest.
Lisa, think you need some help.
Yeah. Hello. Just in the back. Like, no. Oh man.
Oh god. And we haven't even gotten to the Acolyte yet.
No, we're gonna get to it right now.
I'm myself, actually. I'm glad we'll have limited time because you all are gonna convince me there's some redeeming quality to the Acolyte, and I'm all here for it. Because no one else has convinced me otherwise. So I'm gonna leave it to the experts to tell me that.
Let's get into it, because I mean there are some hardliners that say no Acolyte, none whatsoever. And I think Joe, I could probably speak for Joe, he's like did not like any of it, no matter what. I mean, maybe
even Joey likes scenes.
Yeah. But of course, you know, like Book of Fett had some great scenes, but overall it wasn't that compelling. Obi-Wan, same thing, right? Acolyte. Now let's talk about this. Now, the most controversial thing in Star Wars, I think, ever was the Acolyte show. I do think collectively it's at the bottom of everybody's list. There is that, you know, select few that just kind of bought into the notions of what it was presented, what it did. There was a lot of like, this is the show again to compare to like a Skeleton Crew and Acolyte. The Skeleton Crew is a safe show so far. It's safe. It's just an adventure with Star Wars familiar characters and stuff like that. I don't think they're going to do lore breaking stuff. On one hand, and I'm not talking about the characters or visuals of Acolyte, it's the lore breaking stuff. And I say breaking not as a bad thing either. Lore breaking, they went into the Acolyte show as presenting some major changes in Star Wars as how we would talk about it. Like we would, if they continue that stuff about creating life from the Force, you know, where the Night Sisters did, right? And Plagueis's role and all this thing. And the Stranger, hopefully maybe going on to becoming the Knights of Ren. That is good things that happens around this show that had the most controversial things.
Yeah.
Now, I was trying to come up with like some sort of thought process on the Acolyte itself. If we took out everything that we knew beforehand, we a trailer drop, and then we got the show with no interviews, no creator saying a thing, no actors making music videos on how that fandom sucked. All these things, would there be a different attitude towards the show?
It was just a bad show.
Okay, so there's levels of bad on this because there's the
so mad right now. He's so mad at you.
No, because it
was fucking great if you take all that shit out. This is not.
No, because if you're saying bad because of the lore stuff, because how we look at Star Wars stuff, right?
No, just because it's called Acolyte.
Yeah. Well, if it's bad on the surface, meaning like just acting and just kind of bad scenes or whatever, that's different than bad meaning, well, there's no way those witches would have that power. What, you're taking it away from Anakin, you're taking away the chosen one, that's what people think, right? But you can honestly twist it into a projection on how Anakin was born. It really, you can make those ties, and we've done it plenty of times on the show. And I'm not saying that's a redeeming quality. I'm just saying like what the show presented to us on paper, what the story was, it's not as bad as the show was, because it can
like
have
Attack of the Clones. On paper, it's not that bad. Well, but watching Attack of the Clones
had some major implications, right? Like there's some major things that happen. And Acolyte, at least I'm going to say this, at least they took a chance to present that kind of stuff. Not the surface, but the paper stuff of getting us to talk about something that we haven't talked about ever on Star Wars. And again, it's the dark side. It's the manipulation of midichlorians, how Anakin was actually born. Those are the things that I look at and I go, there was something there that could still be continued with, right? Fleshed out and continued with, and made some major changes. Like I said, we could get the Knights of Ren through the Stranger. We can get Darth Plagueis finding out this power and how to use it. Oh my God, this power existed, and finding out what happened. We can get more Night Sister stuff. We can get those that once the Night Sister or the witch that went off, she could have went to Dathomir and started the whole cult on the Night Sister stuff. I mean, there's some things there. What didn't work was everything else. May. Osha, that storyline, I just was bad. The Jedis themselves were bad. Like there was a lot of things that I can throw away, but there's some major things in there. I go, man, there's some cool stuff there. I don't know if I'm ready to just block that out of memory.
No, I'm talking about like filmmaking. Yeah. Just things like they teased, we're gonna have this lightsaber fight with the Kalnaka, right? And then the next episode, he's dead already. Well, yeah, we missed that. And it's like, that would have been like something fun to actually see. Yeah. Their gigantic like 10-way battle with lightsabers behind the trees didn't really do it for me either.
See, I like that.
See, on the other hand, complete opposite. I love that. That episode in particular was fantastic. I thought the lightsaber duel, the fact that it was kind of hidden behind the trees and it was sneaking around going on, but at the same time, we also had weird bug things that really didn't need to be there. See, that's the thing about the Acolyte, though. For every cool thing they showed us one or two things that was just like, what are we doing here? Yeah. What's the point of this, right? Now, we like it or not, we are never going to get Darth Plagueis the movie, right? We're not going to get the book translated into, and we never were, because it's a legend story, right?
Right.
But if they're going to take that concept of Darth Plagueis and actually turn it into something live action, I mean, I'm willing to give it another shot if I can see where they're headed with it.
Right. And I have a concept.
As long as they give somebody other than Leslie Headland the reign to do it, right?
I have a concept, and I'll explain after. I do have a concept that maybe you guys will say, all right, we could take the events of the Acolyte and we can salvage it into two complete different seasons, different titles. You have the Acolyte, and you have the Apprentice, and you have Sith Lord. Like those are three complete seasons where the Acolyte kind of had, I think 70% of it, the murder mystery, the Jedi thing, the witches, throw that all out the window. That don't have to revisit that anymore. But
you should revisit. They kind of do. They've got to.
You can wrap it up in a crawl. I swear to God, because you could just take. You can take the Stranger and May, and they go off and they form the Knights of Ren.
It's Vernestra and Vernestra and the Stranger though, and what and Yoda she did to him. Yeah.
But you can't
drop that.
You can settle. You can wrap it up. You don't have to like draw it out. And then you can have Plagueis discovering this power because his whole goal is to live forever, right? He wants to live forever. So if he discovers that this power is happening through manipulation of midichlorians, that the witches, I'm going to say, stumbled upon. I don't think they knew what they were doing. They stumbled upon it. Plagueis wants to exploit that power. He goes after it, and you have that. Now you have the apprentice, and who's the apprentice? Palpatine. He finds Palpatine. Now we have this Plagueis Palpatine team up, and then the whole goal is to go within the shadows, manipulate the galaxy through politics, whatever, but at the same time trying to live forever. And then you have the Sith Lord, which Palpatine takes out Plagueis and becomes the Sith Lord. So that's my way of stepping this up into a dark side series.
Well, why I love Darth Moocher's insight into it, because he's really trying to just he's trying to make like bronze into gold here. Working. This is what the whole series was done in the wrong way. Like Scott said, they hired someone in, had no business ever being involved in it. And we're debating on there's two different camps at Star Wars. And when you see the two different camps creatively go down, one works. One consistently, people like, I love those ideas. That's fresh. That's great. And then there's one camp that doesn't have an understanding of what Star Wars is, what's good story taking. Somebody watched the Russ and Dahl and said, wow, that's great. I'm going to use this person. And then they just did this series. But that tone is not going to work. And you gave someone that never had that amount of money before. On any project, way too much. And yet we're starting to see is like, it doesn't matter about the story. If you don't have someone that sits down, and I'll use this same metaphor, and they multiply passed on the director of Godzilla -1. He was invited to Lucasfilms. They sat him down and everything. What show, what movie, what is he directing? Is he doing a Star Wars commercial? No.
Yeah.
He's not even being looked at. Yet they took someone and did a Netflix series that the tone is completely different than
100%.
Star Wars, and said, this is going to work for Star Wars. It's not going to work.
Because there's one camp, and I told you, Lucasfilm was divided.
Yeah,
you have the Kathleen Kennedy camp, and you have the John Favreau camp. And it feels one of the things I didn't want to accept that. I was like, no, that's not how you run a business. I see it more and more now. What's working, what's not working. But I will say this too, and again, I gotta have some sort of credit where credit is due. Now, you guys might disagree, and that's fine. But a lot of things that work in today's world is they play it very safe, right? Yeah. Nostalgia. Mm-hmm. Let's get a character. Let's get a story. Yeah. Nothing really happens. It's just a fun ride. And look what we're doing. Scout Crew is a fun ride. Nothing's really happened. It's great. It's hitting those buttons. But when they try to do something, that's it. Oh, everything's horrible. They should be outcasted. How dare they? And I'm just talking the series itself, not what they brought to the table outside of it. Because again, there was a lot of stuff that group, the Leslie Headland group, brought outside and brought into Star Wars, and they made a spectacle of themselves. They did the Rian Johnson thing by calling out fans. You know what I mean? They did the wrong thing. But it's also, they kind of did some things that kind of changing the course of, or moving some story and getting some meat and potatoes and things, and not playing it so close to the chest. And that's where I have conflict. That's where I have some conflict on
it's the same thing that Rian Johnson did, right? Rian Johnson, everybody was saying that The Force Awakens played it too safe, right? And then he's like, well, just you wait and see. I'm going to turn it on its head. I'm going to give you something you've never seen in Star Wars before. And he did. And I give him credit for that, right? I mean, he did. He had the balls to go out there and say, oh, Luke Skywalker is giving the universe a middle finger, right?
Well, I don't like that, but yeah.
But that's right. But he did it. That's what he did. And, people rebelled. It's like, we wanted something different, not that different. And I think but then Ryan fired back, and that's what you're saying too.
Yeah, the firing back is not.
The crew, you need to. Yeah, it's like the kids in the Skeleton Crew right now. Whenever they're doing press, they and the producers and the writers are saying, "We love playing in Star Wars. Check out this Star Wars,
right?"
Yeah, it's not a, we're going to make a political statement. We're going to make some sort of stand. We're going to fight with the audience that doesn't agree with everything that we have in our political background, right?
Sure.
But I do disagree.
I'll just say one thing, because I think a lot of times we discuss studios taking too much control of different creative genres or franchises, and a lot of times that constricts the creativity, and then all of a sudden you see a finalized product that's like way over underwhelming because you had some executive in the mix. I think sometimes it leans the opposite way, which is you give the creatives too much control to do the thing.
A blank check. Yeah.
Here's an example. If anybody's seen the last Thor with Waititi, they basically gave him the reins to do whatever you want. It's a shit show. Joker 2, they gave Todd Phillips, like, do what you want. Shit show. Yeah. I think this is a perfect scenario where I think the broad strokes were painted, like you said, the broad strokes were painted, and it could have been something great because there were some pockets of, oh, this is different. This is going to shock. But I think the people that penciled them in the details, it could have been a little bit more management from folks that knew Star Wars the most, like Mr. Storm said, which is, I don't know, like let's maybe shift this a bit. Or I think the biggest issue outside of that was there was no emotional connection to any of the characters in this series.
That hurt too.
Like there wasn't at all. And the stuff that I've enjoyed with Star Wars, whether it's been some of the lower bottom of the totem pole stuff, if I just said it was still rewatchable, it's because there was a character or two that I cared about. And in this one, it was more about, let me just tell you this crazy story. I'm going to flip the story upside down on its head. I'm going to do all this crazy stuff. It's going to be controversial versus give me somebody in this damn series that I care about. So I think that's the problem.
I 100% agree with you. I 100% because there's like, I look at even just watching it as we broke down every episode and all this stuff. It was just like I felt so distant from that series, and it was either the actors, the creators, whatever, and it was just like it didn't seem like they had they were like, we're going to make Star Wars and we're going to make it our own kind of playground and not really relate and have the language that we are used to. Until that very end when they showed Plagueis for the first time ever, that just made him canon and made him a mun, all that stuff. There's like those little tidbits that we sometimes get blind to, like, oh, everything else is, forget that. This is what the real story is. And maybe we had to get from here to here, we had to go through some stuff to get here, but I 100% agree. And I'm also okay at this point if they just cancel it and just do it, like I said, like Mike, just throw it in a bin. Never, like what they did with the Willow series. Oh, that didn't ever happen. That never happened.
I just wonder what you said if Favreau had oversight on this. What it would have been. But like,
if he did,
I mean, you may be onto something. Maybe it's two competing studio heads. And it's like,
I feel that like Kennedy she's sitting there giving Favreau green light, do your thing, do this because it's you have a trajectory. We've already said it and it's working. He's the executive producer on a lot of this stuff. He's hiring the stuff, people for Skeleton Crew, Ahsoka series, man, all that stuff. And then you have Kennedy, which already have. Well, it's almost like she's making these side contracts with these people, like what Alex said, that had no experience, no reason, no business being in this on this, having handed them a golden ticket, and then they strangle it to death. And then the PR firm and the marketing firm lets them strangle it even more in the public. Like, that's what I couldn't understand about it. And I think that had a lot to do with tainting Acolyte from the get-go, from the very first words, we're doing this series, here's who's doing it. And they had, like I said, you had actors making music videos just shitting on fandom in general. And a lot of the fandom deserve it. I get it. I totally get it. But at the same time, this is Star Wars, and we don't care. We don't care about that. I care about Luke, Vader. Even going into the title of Star Wars, I can give a crap about what's happening on Earth when I'm watching Star Wars. And so that sentiment is felt throughout the entire fandoms on Marvel and a lot of things, right? So hopefully, moving on in the future, we start to see that separation. Bob Iger promised when he took Disney back over, right? He promised we're gonna go focus on story. We're gonna focus, but here's Snow White. We're gonna focus on story. So you know what I mean.
We're gonna bring Disneyland back to the people. Here's I went to buy tickets for my wife and I to go to Disneyland. It was $511 for one day.
Hal Runner.
He's just Hal Runner's just a contradictorian, right? He just wants to contradict everything, so just ignore him.
I love him though. He's awesome.
But
Rhino Hobby
what's up, Rhino Hobbies? as far as the Acolyte goes, though, the only character that I wanted to see more of week to week was Kamir, the Stranger. I found him intriguing. I found his the method. Number one, I love Manny. I love Manny's acting. I used to, I watched the series he was on NBC. It was great.
Good Place.
Yeah, The Good Place. Thank you. He was fantastic in that as a complete idiot. It was wonderful. But he's a great actor, and the subtleties in his acting choices as Kamir before the big reveal that he was the Stranger, all of it was just I found that guy riveting, and I could watch that. I could watch a show about him any day. Yeah. You want to continue that story, by all means, please do.
Like I said, would it be awesome if we got him and the Knights of Ren, because it makes more sense. It just makes more sense.
I want him to take out Vernestra. I want him to take out Vernestra.
Yeah, just
anybody,
please do it in the first 2 minutes. Again, he goes there. Oh, your secret will never. Boom, done. On to his story.
Because look, but I mean, lightsaber haircut was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
I hated that. That was just when, honestly, Brent. So as I'm watching, it's like one of those things. We always do this, as Star Wars fans, especially nowadays. It's like we watch something and something happens. We go, God damn it! Not because it's just like
what the reaction's going to be.
The internet is blowing up right now, and because this and I like this. Like this is my thing, right? And it makes me stupid.
It's like the opposite of when Luke appeared in Mando, and the TV reaction. They should have done a reaction video when she cut her hair, and everyone's like, here we go, it's going viral. People are gonna make trailers, and I mean, we made one too. So
we did.
And the actress who played Vernestra should never act. She shouldn't be in. Just stop it. Stop it.
Well, if you can call it acting.
It's just, I can stand in front of the camera and just have no emotions too. I do it every Wednesday.
Paint and green. That's all I need.
You know what I mean? So, oh man,
it's true.
It's true. I've seen it. So I feel like if you force my hand, the Acolyte's the barrel bottom of anything Star Wars has put out, in my opinion. But I even agree. As an avid Attack of the Clones denier, I absolutely agree. I think and for the reasons we've all explained, right? Yeah. But again, there's those things where I go, wow, something was connecting, but again, the overall it didn't work. It had moments, but and like I said, I wonder if we had the power to like cut it, like I said, the marketing off and then cut out some of the bad stuff that was in there, would it be something that we would be praising today? I don't know, because
take it out of the volume, put it on a real set.
Her job was a firefighter in the vacuum of space. There were so many dumb things in this show. And look, I know Star Wars has explosions in space and that really wouldn't happen, but raging fire where you need people on the outside of the ship to put it out, that's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, physics in Star Wars never, it's not our galaxy. Maybe they have different set of rules. And
I'll take the gravity bombs in Last Jedi over that.
They were magnetic.
Yeah.
God damn it.
They were magnetic, then why didn't they just stick to the hole that they were on? It's like
it was a rail gun shooting. Don't make me man.
They were dropped. There was no gun.
Anytime you're feeling low and like disheartened about anything Star Wars, just go watch Rogue One again, and just it brings your soul back to life.
Here's the thing, Brad.
So far.
That's the thing, like growing up Star Wars, we've always had the 3 movies and then 6 movies, and we had the Ewok of it. We had things, right? I mean, there was some cringe, but all of it was like, I won't trade it for the world. And we just kind of like grew up, because again, 80s technology, whatever it was all under one man's vision, and I always envisioned when Disney took it over, I thought Disney was, if any company's going to do it right, they're going to, because they had a relationship with George Lucas. They did it great in Disneyland, and they had just had this. And then they did
a great job with Marvel too. Up to that point, they had done a fantastic job with Marvel.
And I feel
the quality was there.
Yeah, because I was already set in my mind, like I'm not going to get any more Star Wars, and I'm cool with it. Like I can do a podcast every Wednesday just on the 6 movies that we have. We can just continue like always. And fast forward to 2024, I have got things that I've got to defend. I've got things that I've got to say, this sucked, this was great, and I never wanted that energy. I never wanted to put that kind of energy into Star Wars. It was always like I talk with my friends about it. We go watch any kind of movie, and we compare all these things. And now that I have to, any Star Wars fan has to defend things is the wrong way of doing it, right?
Exhausting.
If you want hiccups out the gate, all right, you got the sequel trilogy. But at the same time, you can probably talk yourselves around the sequels and make them, a couple special editions later. You could probably, salvage what some
and a Mandalorian and an entire Disney Plus catalog of TV shows to make one movie make sense.
Yeah, that sucks, right? And that's painting yourself in the corner. They should have took 4 more years and redone and really had a plan. But
yeah, the rush to get them out every 2 years was really what doomed them. They needed that time to sit with those scripts and work.
Yeah.
And I read Colin Trevorrow's treatment. There was some substance there that could have worked, right?
Yeah.
But
you know why? Because
draft.
It was ballsy. It had stuff that they were going to change or make you talk differently about Star Wars. And again, there's this avenue of like, do we want that? Because sometimes when they do it, look, this is what we get. And then there's like playing it way too close to the chest that nothing happens, but it was cool, and if that's the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars. Star Trek, nothing happens, it's cool. Star Wars is, you know what I mean? Like every season, every movie was like they just reverted right back to the same. They ended the same way they started. Anyway, I digress. I'm just doing that for the Trekkies.
Not
here.
Star Trek. You must be thinking of a different series or something.
Hey,
because Spock doesn't make it through all of them.
Yes, he
comes
does.
Back. He's not the same person.
Back.
Doesn't
matter.
There's all sorts of stuff. They're not the same place. They don't even have the ship anymore. Come on.
They call it
Enterprise. This one has an A. This one has the B. I'm telling you.
Exactly. Ecto 1, Ecto 1A. Hey. Yeah. But anyway, always also Star Wars as a progressive story. But anyway, guys, so I know that we're running out of time here. But there were other things besides the series, which were the video games. They had 3 video games come out this year for Star Wars. Yeah, we had Hunters, which was their battle royale game that's still going strong, actually. Free to play. It's doing its thing. We have Star Wars Outlaws. That it's an RPG game. Some people are playing it. Some people are enjoying it. I don't know where that falls. I think a lot of people put that at the bottom.
Yes.
But yeah, and then you had
the bottom, and it's still there.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then you had
that's what happens when you ship a product that's not ready, which is common theme.
Which is video games in general these days.
Video games these days. Yeah. Like Jedi Awakens.
As a gamer, I'm tired of being their beta testers. I am tired of it. I want a game that I can play that's ready to go. Like they beta test it for 5 years as a live game, and they just fix it along the way. And then I'm out. Then I'm like, oh, I don't want to play anymore. So
by the time it's fixed, you've already moved on to other things.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah. And then
it wasn't this year, but Jedi Survivor, man. I mean, that is
Jedi Survivor was a mess.
Yeah. I mean, it's another like shipping before
always again.
Really? I don't game, so I don't know.
Oh, you don't want to.
You don't game, bro.
No, I don't game, bro. Hey, but do you High Republic, bro? Because I've read all those books.
Nobody High Republic.
I do, so you assholes don't have to. So there.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And then of course I had one of my favorite things that come out of the Star Wars years, which is a top hit. It was the card game, Star Wars Unlimited. I absolutely love it.
Hey, I bought one of those decks after we talked last time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I didn't open it yet because I was looking at it and I was like, oh man, this is
what is it? Is it a deck building game?
Yeah,
it's like Magic, but Star Wars. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the deck I got is really hard to find. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a problem.
Huh. That's right.
So,
yeah, the probably Sparkle Rebellion, the first set, which is hard to. Yeah. They're already on they're working on their 4th set right now. So, but the mechanics are so good. It's so good. I know, but I really enjoyed that. That came out this year, and that was somewhere where Star Wars needed a hit. They needed a hit in the tabletop.
They've tried for years.
They've tried for a lot.
Like 4 years. I remember the first original one I played was like 90. I think it was like 98 or something. But at that point in time, I'd been playing Magic for like 4 years already.
Yeah.
And then the Star Wars one came out. I was like, this is really just like Topps collecting cards with
Yeah,
some text.
That's
on
what
it.
it. Yeah, it's like Lorcana, right? Nobody plays it; they
Yeah.
just collect it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
But anyway, guys. So anybody
comic books? I mean, we're not going to talk about comics.
No, they all suck.
Perfect. That's about right.
I'm not kidding. Yeah. That wasn't a joke to move it on.
No,
last year they were good.
They're pretty bad. This man,
I don't know what they're going. Novels. I couldn't remember a memorable novel. Well,
I'm continuing on with the High Republic because there's only one book left.
Yeah, I got to do it. Got to finish it. Yeah,
part of it does tie into the Skeleton Crew, so that is I'm holding out hope that it's gonna get somewhere. It's gonna do something.
Yeah. Felipe checking in, and then Hal Runner. Have you guys read the new Jakku Star Wars comics? No,
I have not, but I want to. It's the Battle
again
of Jakku.
Because up here where Scott and I are at, no comic book stores, and that sucks. We can't get our hands on it. I'm not reading it digitally. I want a physical copy. But the ones that I have read and talked about, like I have Dark Droids. It didn't catch on. It just not there, man. Like it's not there. Bring back Dark Wars.
When Darth Vader does a lightsaber duel with Kira and it's a stalemate, that's
It just that's where we're going.
Yeah,
so I refuse to put that in canon. Like I'm refusing it. You know. But anyway, guys, any last thoughts on Star Wars in general? We're not here to change minds. We're just here to bring in the entertainment of it. I don't honestly, besides Andor and the rest of Skeleton Crew, there's not much going on for next year. But 2026 it's like a rebuilding year, and then 2026 we're supposed to ramp it up like big time, back in the movie theaters and series and whatnot. So
you'll be getting the trailers and the teasers and all that stuff for it.
We have Celebration Japan. Celebration Japan. They should bring a lot of. Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for taking the time on a Friday, joining us in the pit. You guys were always awesome, of course. Shadow Nose Network. You guys, I mean, this is a perfect relationship that we've been building here, where I can speak for you guys, where you guys bring in the pop culture, you bring in the interviews of people that are doing toys and all these things, and like G.I. Joe and Transformers and Marvel and DC. You know, we go to you guys for those sources, and we're having a lot of fun with that too. And then of course you come here for your Star Wars concentrate because there's Star Wars and there's everything else. I mean, I just had to say it.
We
I give you a compliment and then I piss you off. That's what Darth Moocher does.
Because this is the way.
That's right. We used to have a Beyond the Pitch show where we would talk about everything else, but now there's no point because there's you guys. So what's
exactly. You know,
that's right.
Alex, Shadow Nose Network, what is the future? What are we doing the rest of this year, man?
Well, we're humping it up and everything, to be quite honest with you. Like I said, again, I know that Chet and I are going to attend the SoCal Joe show on Sunday. So we're looking to see if anybody, Star Wars fans are allowed to go to a Joe show. If you want to pop in and say hi to us and everything, we'll do that.
Work.
Oh man, it does.
I know.
I know we got the Joystick Junkies with Meeks and Chet. So like when you guys started hitting that video game vibe, those are two of the guys that really know all about that stuff, or the tabletop gaming or any other thing that comes with gaming. And Pixel Plastic Inc. We're ramping it up. I think we're on to something. Rad's been spearheading our horror related December, and people seem to really enjoy that. So it's been great. We've done zombies and vampires, and we got some other stuff. I think we're working on something for the Christmas horror films or something of all time.
Nice. There's a new one that
nothing says Christmas like zombies and vampires on the Shadow Nose Network.
Yeah, there's that new one called Black Friday with Bruce Campbell. I think it's on Netflix or Amazon.
Oh
yes, yeah. And I saw the preview for it. I'm like, I'm in. And of course, Krampus is always great for a great Christmas. So Rhino Hobbies, SoCal Joe Show. Yeah. Get with. I'm sure you guys have the information.
Oh yeah,
I just dropped a link. I dropped the link to their Facebook page.
There you go, man.
So there
in
you
Temecula,
go,
if you're in the area, which I know you are. Yeah.
Also, can I say that Rhino Hobbies does the best Korean barbecue? Does the best damn Korean barbecue.
If you happen to be in
he mans the grill, let him do that.
Yeah, we're just gonna push all the food to him and just stare at him like, come on.
Don't order chicken. Don't order the chicken. Order everything else.
Why would you go to a Korean barbecue spot and order chicken? Are you guys
better?
Because you blame the fallen Fett for that one.
Yeah, I will. I'll just blame it. No one.
Exactly.
You don't need to fucking kids. Whatever in the podcast. Fucking chicken.
Yeah, you don't go to Joe's Crab Shack and order.
It's like going to like a fucking barbecue spot that's known for everything barbecue, and you're like, yeah, let me get a
salad,
hamburger,
chicken nuggets, yeah, chicken tenders.
Yeah. You guys got chicken tenders or like some kind of like non-meat product?
I'd like a Cobb salad, please.
Yeah. What the?
I can have an Impossible Burger, please.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever in the history of barbecue said, "Hey, you all should come out. We'll do Super Bowl. We'll talk Star Wars toys. I'll make everyone Cobb salads."
Yeah. Oh, this might be the last Super Bowl party you
that has never happened.
I'll bring the La Croix.
Yeah.
You can't even water loose. Yeah,
well, thank you guys. Again, link is in the description below to check out. And everything that Alex said, the only one way to do is subscribe and hit that notification bell. Just like you do here at Starlight Digest. Subscribe, hit that notification for everything that's dropping. We will be back Monday for a toy chest, last of the show or last of the year. And of course, we'll be bringing the best and worst Star Wars collectibles, figures, whatever, what have you. We will be talking last ditch efforts to see what's coming out for 2024. Yes. Find the favorite toy, collectible. Doesn't even have to be a toy. It could be a salt and pepper shaker. That was your best thing that you got this year, Star Wars wise. We want to hear it.
I got some oven mitts. Let's do it.
Why not? If it's their best thing that you got this year, then let's see it. I want to see it. So
that's sad.
Yeah. So Monday, toy chest. Wednesday, we will have in fact, the next 2 Wednesdays are Starlight Digest weekly will be going on as we talk Skeleton Crew, and then we'll take a couple week break, wrap it up 2025, the next 2 shows with the Skeleton Crew, and then it's on to Andor. But then we get into the era of Andor and see how we can revisit that and bring it back up to front, because that's probably one of my favorite shows, Andor.
Light speed to Andor.
So Alex, Meeks, Dr. Brantley, Rad, Chet, thank you guys so much. You guys are always awesome, and we've got to do this again. And there'll be many more crossovers and everything. And Scott and Darth Moochie here representing Starlight Digest, and we will see you guys later. Thank you, everybody in the pit. Have a good one. And with that, Scott,
keep it nerdy, everybody.
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Starlight Digest. What a fascinating play on words.